Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 657, recorded live on Saturday, November 6th. I'm your host, Patrick. This week we have returning to the show, Arkat. And you're muted.
Good morning or afternoon, whatever the case may be when you see this.
Hello. We also have most of Samius Gurobo.
Greetings and mostly salutations, everyone.
If Samius sounds a little different, it's because he's a little under the weather. But welcome, guys. This should be fun. Hey, Update 51 is live, so that's going to be kind of what we're going to be talking about. We're talking a lot about Update 51, but it's a big deal. A lot to unpack with Update 51. So we're going to talk about the release and kind of our hot takes and whatnot. This week's screenshot. Billy's pet Doomspherelet size is a matter of perspective in this week's DDO screenshot of the week. Thanks, Billy, for sending in this week's screenshot. Two things I'm going to say about this. One, very impressive camera work to get the Doomspherelet this big. Also,
yeah, when I first saw that, it looked like it made. How the hell is there a doom sphere off in the distance? A big giant monster that flies around as well. Like sometimes you see dragons flying around. That was a great shot. That was a really, really good shot.
The second thing I want to say about this is great description. Very good description. Loved it. Yeah, really great camera work in that one. I always like screenshots that are really pretty are always nice, but I always like the one, like, people get creative about what they're doing. That's always fun, right? We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can catch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website at DDOcast.com. DDOcast is hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network, and shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will probably be next weekend. I'm going to put a little bit more of an asterisk on that than I usually do, that it may or may not happen. My schedule continues to be nuts. In a good way, in like all the good ways it can be. It's just hard to. It's a moving target a lot these days, so that's kind of the issue there. Let's see. You can say
if I work for PJ.
Yeah, Patrick is getting plenty of work these days, which is fantastic. Not enough sleep, but plenty of work. Or enough gaming time actually. Anyways. You can sign up by following us on our social media pages or our website, DDOcast.com, with our calendar. On the podcast this week, like I said, Update 51 launched this week. A new Destiny. We actually kind of already knew the title of it. Although, side note to that, props to the art department. I like the logo, the new Destiny logo. It's pretty nice. So we're going to talk about Update 51's release, the hotfix that came after it. It's surprising no one that there's going to be a hot fix on Friday after this got launched. So we'll kind of talk about that. Like I said, we've talked a lot about Update 51. We've talked about the previews, the process of the previews. Now it's live, so we're going to give kind of some hot takes on that. We will do a more formal review of Update 51. That's probably going to be a ways down the line. We'll give our hot takes today, but I don't think we're gonna want to try and do a review for a little while. I think this is something that we are gonna need a little bit more time than usual before doing a review.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to let a lot of this stuff just sink in and percolate for a while.
Yeah. So that's
also, I just want to say really quickly, there's actually a gag wishing you a happy death, right? Rest in peace when you start to read these release notes. Literally in my Discord right now. So like people are really excited for you to read these notes that they don't think you're going to make it.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So I think the gauntlet has been slapped, sir.
Sure. All right. The release notes are also kind of why this is not like our topic is going to be a little.
No. I'm just teasing.
Lighter,
I'm just saying that people are actually really excited for someone to go through all these things because it is such a big change, and it is 100% correct. We're going to have to wait and see. These things are definitely going to need a little time to shake out and finish baking. So,
all right. Let's get into game news. This is where we're gonna get into the release notes and stuff. But first, before we get into that, an important announcement for all of those who like using Discord and the DDO community Discord. The short version is there was someone's account got hacked who was an admin of the previous Discord. And whoever did that was kind enough to delete the server, so they had to rebuild it. So we'll link to the forum post on that if you want to get back in. You're wondering what happened to it and how to get back into the new one. We'll get you that information there, but it has been rebuilt. It is seems to be very popular. People seem to be cruising on it and a lot of posts and stuff like that. So it has been rebuilt. It looks like it's, I think, mostly back up to running. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it, so I can't say for certain, like, is it finalized, rebuilt, and just like it was, but there you go.
Is it under SSG directly now?
No.
Someone told me that was. Someone told me it wasn't. Okay, still not. It feels like a short-sighted thing to me.
That it's not SSG?
Yes, it should. That Discord, the one that, at least that they're communicating with, like in a semi-official capacity with us, which they definitely are.
Right.
They should definitely have control of that server. It should be theirs, because look what happened when it wasn't under their fold and their umbrella. Like, it got hacked and it just was deleted. So this is one of those examples where something should be brought inside the house, I think, when there's an opportunity to do so, and it just happened.
I don't know that it being in-house necessarily prevents that same problem.
No, but I feel like corporate accounts are definitely more robust. I mean, especially when you go ahead and you pony up a couple of bucks for the professional Discord server. Like, if you're going to use official communication, then it should be, like, well supported and well ready to go.
Sure.
I was under the impression that it had been brought in-house, and then I had said that on stream because someone had told me that, and I was corrected, and I just double-checked that. I would bring that in, personally.
Let me play devil's advocate here. I'm gonna argue against them bringing it in. If it was an official SSG Discord, where they put out, there would be an obligation. There would at least be an impression or an implied obligation on the devs to actually take part in the Discord server, and maybe that's not something the higher ups want them to do.
I don't think there's any more obligation than we have for them to respond to the forums, which, as far as I understand, why they read everything, they claim to read everything. They don't respond to everything, so I feel like there's no implied anything. It's the same as posting on the forums. The difference is that the forums, where they're giving us official communication, is owned and operated by SSG. The Discord server, where we're getting the same information and oftentimes like one-on-one communication with devs around problems, are, again, just hosted by somebody else. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't have a perfect solution to that problem, but I think from a corporate standpoint, if you have that communication in two different places from an official standpoint, I think it exponentially adds to the challenges. Whereas because they don't run Discord, they don't need to post announcements in there, right? Now, granted, there's tools that are doing it automatically in that Discord anyways, but they don't have to make sure that they communicate things officially to that place. It's not something they have to manage officially.
Right, that's exactly the point, is that it's another thing that's not managed officially, therefore poof. If it's a tool that they're going to use in their quiver, it needs to be in their quiver. So, again, I feel like people are going to disagree or see both sides of this. I see both sides of it too. But when I looked down to look at the DDO server the other day and it was deleted, and I was like, what? You know what I mean? That not real great. Now this new one seems to be like doing really well. It seems to be way more active than the last one was. I do a lot of lurking. I don't do a lot of stuff. But on this one, I've noticed a lot of dev, 3 times as much dev interaction as there was previously, would be my guess, give or take. And granted, we have a relatively minor update in the last couple of weeks, so maybe they're just a little bit more reactive because of that.
Yeah. The only other thing that I think would be, I think it's better that it's not SSG is it gives players more freedom. Like, it's the players doing the moderation, not the devs having to do the moderation. Although I do know some folks that have been that have some mixed feelings about the quality of the moderation of the people who were running the old server. So, I don't know how much that works there, but yeah. So it's the new important thing is, hey, if you like that being in the community, that it's there again, it's back, just slightly different and reborn. So all things that come along with that. Moving on to other stuff. Steelstar had a comment about the cost to reset Epic Destinies. This is before Update 51 went live, but the overall cost per enhancement is somewhat higher than the per enhancement cost of heroic trees. It's approximately 50%, assuming you're comparing enhancements with relatively similar placement in their trees. Resetting a new single Epic Destiny you have Tier 5 in is approximately the plat cost of resetting one of the old Epic Destiny trees, assuming you don't have a multiplier for having reset it recently. That said, you may spend more or less depending on exactly how many points you have in a given tree. The multiplier on plat reset for having recently reset the trees is the same value as it is in the heroic system and resets over time the same way. However, that multiplier is tracked separately for heroic trees and epic destinies, so respetting one won't affect the other. Also, and we've mentioned this before, they identified a bug where owning abilities in the old epic destiny system made resetting your heroic enhancements more expensive. That should not be the case in Update 51, and I haven't seen any indication that it is. So plat reset costs for heroic enhancements should come down now, so that's good. There you go. All right, are we ready to get into Update 51 proper release notes?
Sure.
If we must.
I will mention, particularly in light of Samus's jesting about me getting through the release notes, I am going to fully cheat. These release notes are long. The main reason why they're long is because they have line by line of all the different destinies, all 12 of them. So we're not going to go through those. I kind of have designs, time permitting, to maybe do another video of each destiny, kind of like I did in the preview of each destiny individually. I don't know when or if that's going to happen. But if you are looking for the destinies specifically, I would refer you to, you can look at the release notes, you can look at them in game. I'm sure other folks will kind of go through the destinies as well. So I'm not going to go line by line through the destinies right now. That's the big idea.
Thank you.
What? Cheats? Hacks?
Yeah. I'm a dirty, rotten cheater, and I don't care. So, Update 51, a new Destiny, was released Wednesday, November 3rd. So this is the big overhaul of Epic Destinies. There is no new content. There is, other than the release notes we're going to kind of go over, which are kind of some quality of life, bug fixy things, it is really about changing Epic Destinies and leveling from 20 to 30. That's what this is about. And they are significant. So Epic Destinies are now free to everyone, regardless of account status.
It's always good to be proven correct.
If you previously owned Epic Destinies, you will receive a Tome of Destiny +1 Historic that grants you +1 permanent Destiny point for one of your characters. You will get one of those. You may get several of them. I got 4 on a server, on every server, because of various expansions I've gotten that have Epic Destinies in them, that kind of a thing. So you may get more than one per server. They're a new item in the store. I think they were 3,500 points, and which is the same cost as the Universal Tome. I will point out that if you are someone who got a couple of these Destiny tomes, you're getting them on each server, and transferring one character is cheaper than buying one tome. Just saying. Also, Hardcore Season 4 is coming probably a month and a half. We're expecting it in December. If this is something that you get for every, I'm not sure if it's going to be every time on a new server, but you might get more on the hardcore server, which has free character transfers. Just putting that out there in case you're thinking about, hey, maybe I want to buy one of these tomes. There may be cheaper options for you.
Fight Club, PJ, Fight Club.
Just stating facts, man. Also,
super fast while we're still talking about hardcore server, if just because I know the devs like to listen to this, if you were to time it out so it would end right about the same time of the anniversary date, it would be a really good time, and probably means to get started extra soon. All right, carry on.
I think
February
I heard that,
28th.
Yeah.
So if they go quickly, they could have our hardcore server run up until the anniversary and then blow people back into the anniversary and have the anniversary event going. I think it would be really smart timing.
I think that's kind of the intended or unintended timing. I want to say I heard the date of December 5th is the target date for Hardcore Season 5. And 3 months would be
pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard lots of things. I've been saying it for a while that there would be a good timing. I just want to say it one more time, just in case. That's all.
There's also an exclusive Cloak of Destiny. Based on what I've seen, I thought this was gonna be per each character that had all the Destinies filled out would get one. It appears that if you had one character who had filled that out completely, all of your characters get one, and it's bound to count. So, woohoo! Cosmetics. Although I do like that if you delete it and you want another one, you can just create a new character, assuming you have a character slot, and get that stuff. Much like the other cosmetics. So, and it looks pretty nice. There were some... I think most folks had to re-log to get those 2 items. So when you log in and then log out and log back in after the update, you should get those items. Although I did see some folks saying, hey, where's my Cloak of Destiny? So I'm not sure if there's... It was difficult to determine if that was because they hadn't actually filled out all of their Destinies all the way, or if there was something else behind there. I didn't see a clear communication on that. Additionally, everyone that was level 20 and higher when the update launched gets a bound character +5 Lesser Heart of Wood. I will say that I did reincarnate a few of my characters, and there's kind of several of my characters that I did not reincarnate are now missing a feat because of feat changes and stuff. So probably should be reincarnated, but I don't play them really at all anymore, so I have no immediate plans to do that after I just did I don't know, what was it, like 4 reincarnation 5 reincarnations in the last couple of days, so
I did one. I did one last night, and I got to tell you, that's maybe we'll get to this later, but this I hate doing reincarnations, even if it's just
yeah,
even if it's just a regular, normal, lesser reincarnation. I absolutely hate it because then you got to reset up your bars and all
it's
the other
time
stuff.
consuming.
It's
You have to
very
rebuy
time consuming.
Reaper wings, even with the lesser, which is really super annoying. Yeah.
Well, what happened? Like, there's just a whole lot of problems with that system anyway, right? Like, if you buy a hair dye or a hairstyle
Yeah.
or something like that, there's a lot of little problems with that particular system that I think that they could address or give us a new one.
Yeah.
I have the feeling that we're going to get a new system instead of this one ever getting fixed. So that you'll have to live with it, I think, for a while.
Yeah, that's probably true. Although I would expect that to be long. I would not expect that anytime soon. I expect that the systems team will move from overhauling the Epic Destiny system to level cap increase next.
Probably.
Let's see. So, the actual release notes, female dragonborn breath attacks that previously failed to function now work correctly. Cool. When the in-game store is set so that it uses your external web browser, the No button has been updated to state cancel to reduce confusion. Let's see. We talked about this. Historic Tome. ASMR Ascendant Bonds no longer spam your combat log. Several falconry bird attacks now properly factor their assassinate bonuses. Pale Masters improved zombie form now properly penalizes your attack speed. Let's see. The current max, so got a little bit of information about some numbers here. The current maximum fate points is 55, 36 from unlocking trees, 16 from epic past lives, and 3 from a tome of fate. This means that you can start with up to 18 permanent destiny points from fate points at level 20, plus an extra fate point. I do not believe that includes, or no, it does include the past lives. So there's that. We're not gonna go over the feats and the destiny trees, like I said, and the other changes that are basically all the same that they were from, as far as I saw from update 51, the previews. So I don't think there's any need to belabor those more and more and more. Let's see. Feats. Knight's Training now increases the threat range of maces and warhammers by an additional 1.
So does that also include Morning Stars? Because I've asked a couple of times and I've gotten no answer. No answers from anybody on that.
Morning Star's a separate weapon.
They are. Morning Star's a totally different weapon, so
Well,
I would say no.
Hang on. If the old Knight's Training feat included Morning Stars.
Yeah, the old. That's not the. This is the new one. It's the new DDO 1.15, buddy.
Well, it's still
Morning Stars are out.
It still would do whatever it did to Morning Stars. I assume that.
Yeah, to give you the +1, but did since now Warhammers and Maces give you the +2, so is this going to be? Oh, you got Maces, you got +2. You got
Right.
Warhammers, you got +2, and Morning Stars, you get +1. Is that how it is?
That's what it sounds like.
And why? And why would that be the case? Morning Stars aren't any better than Maces.
That's incorrect. Morning Stars are spiky. They are amazing. They're clearly the superior weapon because they have spikes.
From a game design perspective, I can't give you any reason why they would increase Maces and Warhammers and not Morning Stars.
It's probably just got overlooked.
Yeah. Because Morning Stars are. They do.
Twitch chat says the description in game says it is also +2 for Morning Stars.
Oh well, hey, there you go.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you very much, chat.
Yeah,
I
thanks,
always
Matron.
love you.
That that would be really weird, right? Like, why not Morning Stars? Swords to Plowshares now increases the threat range of quarterstaves by an additional 1. Let's see. Archer's Focus no longer spams your combat log. Yes. Calls of Destiny, we talked about this last week. Calls of Destiny have been deprecated from the game. Existing ones have been replaced with Sovereign Experience Elixirs. I will point out that those elixirs, which last for 1.5 hours, are minimum level 20, which was unexpected and a little annoying, actually, because I planned on using it while I was lower level. So you have to be level 20 to use these new, these converted ones. Keys of Destiny have also been deprecated, and they can be changed at the Stone of Change to receive a Sovereign Experience Elixir. So, the Call of Destiny ones, they didn't convert automatically. I don't remember if I had to click on them or if I had to take them to Stone of Change. Probably one or the other. Anyways, I didn't have any Keys of Destiny, so I can't tell you if that became if that was a also level 20 restriction.
I'm sorry, I can't let this go. Somebody intentionally made that decision to make those pots level 20 instead of just letting them stack with other ones of the same type. That seems weird, doesn't it?
I
I understand the logic behind thinking like, okay, this was something that you used over level 20.
Mm-hmm.
Why make a whole new item that has to stack on its own than just make an item that already exists and give it to you so it stacks and everything?
Well, I think they made a new item because they didn't want it to last 3 hours, which I don't really understand why that would be that big of a deal.
Oh, it is 1.5 hours. I apologize there.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I don't know, like,
okay,
I'm not sure how intentional it was, because like if you were taking an item that was minimum level 20 and then you just like changed what it did, like you just copied that item and changed what it did but didn't change the minimum level, that would be one way that it could happen. But I don't know.
I just think that someone decided that they were going to make these like you said, these half sovereign pots for these Calls of Destinies, and they're like, what would these be like? And they just designed them to be that way.
Yeah.
I think I just would have made a duplicate item or made one of the existing items, but now that I realize that it's 1.5 hours, I guess it makes a little bit more sense, but still it seems odd to me, like an odd decision tree.
I mean, I think I agree with you. It's an odd decision tree, just from the standpoint that, like, why did you make a new item? Why, like,
right,
an hour and a half of 50% potion? Like, is that really that big of a deal? Like, just use the ones that are already there.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it saves coding space, resources, brain power. Like, it seems odd.
It does. Especially when the Keys of Destiny are giving you Sovereign 2 Experience Elixir. Like, they're giving you a one that exists in the game. I don't know. You may now trade in Tomes of Fate for Purified Eberron Dragon Shards. Yay.
Everyone makes that noise, but I cannot tell you how many times I've had to cash in some, like, miscellaneous BS tome. And I'm just glad there's a system.
Yeah.
Thank you for adding it.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate it, Debs.
The value of Assassinate DC bonuses found in items has increased significantly.
Yeah, like real significantly.
It matches the other ones now. So, woohoo. Legacy Augment Unslotters are now bound to account. I can tell you why. I'm pretty sure why this is a thing. Let's just say that people were probably we're selling these things for ridiculous amounts of platinum on the auction house. I don't know. I'm sure people were buying them. I'm super glad that you can't put them on the auction house anymore, because that was dumb. They cost like what, a copper? Maybe a platinum? They're super cheap.
I have zero qualms with somebody out there trying to play the market. So, Good for them. Good for them.
Cannon's Crafted Key no longer stops working. Sometimes how does that happen? How does that work? I'm so confused by that.
Well, we definitely know that weapon abilities can be added and take off all the time, and we know there's definitely some weird hiccup interactions in there. So like, I think there's a way that you can get permanent ghost touch on for some, you know what I mean? Like, in some way, or at least there used to be. So like, we know that there's these weird hiccups with items gaining powers and whatnot. So I imagine what happened is sometimes when a power is removed, it's also pulling off certain other powers. I bet you that's probably what happened.
Yeah. Monsters throughout levels 28 and 29 have had their stats adjusted to account for the new Epic Destiny update. We'll talk about this more on hot takes, but this is significant changes. They are quite a bit easier to kill. And seems like they do less damage, so. Fixed various undead who were not being harmed by positive energy, as well as animated objects that were mistakenly tagged as undead instead of contracts. Please continue to report any such monsters you encounter. Hellhounds should no longer slide around and attack while using standing still attack animations. Always kind of fun to watch that happen, though. Let's see. Swim at your own risk. An issue with the mage boss's missing spells and some difficulties has been corrected. Since they're missing spells, I'm going to assume that higher difficulties means bigger spells. It'd be kind of my specifically like really what I assume this is like epic level or legendary version of this. Probably was using the heroic version of spells and not like now it's probably going to cast something like Ruin or something like that. Fix an issue with a barrier that could drop too early and lead to 2 copies of 10,000 Teeth being in play. I wish I would have seen that because that sounds hilarious, but also terrifying. In Sharn, players identified a monster pathing issue in a Sharn Welcome that could cause severe lag when monsters tried and failed to path to the upper levels when chasing players. To mitigate this, players must now kill all enemies in the room with the stuffed bear before opening the secret door to proceed. A new quest objective and an additional signal crystal above the door have been added to remind you to do this.
Arkat, are you going to go first? Or am I going to go first?
Go ahead.
This is the laziest bloody dungeon mastering fix I've ever seen in my whole goddamn life. This is the stupidest thing. You could have fixed this whole goddamn problem by moving the fucking lever, pardon my French, to the other side of the room.
Sure.
The first time this happened to me, I freaked out thinking that there was a bug. It took me 5 minutes to figure out why the quest wouldn't advance.
Well,
it's the laziest thing I've ever seen. And this includes not being able to make the stupid machines on the Kobold Island invisible anymore. This is the laziest DMing I've ever seen in my entire life. Whoever designed this, shame. There you go, shame.
I will mention, if you do try to use the lever before everything is dead, you can't use it, and it tells you, in the script above, like the messaging script, it'll tell you, what the issue is, if you can read it. I mean, that stuff pops up, and it's just white text over everything else, so it can be really hard to read. But yeah, that definitely caught me off guard as well, because I hadn't read that release note at the time. I mean, yay, it not being a big lag problem. I mean, the lag at the end of that quest can be pretty nasty. I'm surprised that this is the solution.
I was gonna say, could we not think of 7 other ways to fix this? Again, the easiest one, but there's got to be another dozen ways to fix it.
If the issue was these things being left alive, like I feel like I've had this lag problem and killed everything before, so like I'm surprised that that's actually a thing. But not having said that, like I haven't had nearly as many issues in this quest as I had before, so okay. Exploding spider traps in Sharn have been changed to display an area of effect reticle before exploding. That's cool. I haven't actually seen that yet. Guess I kill him too fast.
Or kill the trap smiths that make them
This is probably one of the best changes they've made for this quest. Actually, it really is huge. If you're looking for it and you're paying attention, I called out spiders a couple of times this week while doing some TRing, and people are able to see it and get out of dodge. It's DDO, so it's a circle problem. So a circle is a square, which is really just a bigger circle because you don't know where the edges are. So, like, you still don't really know, but at least you have a much clearer idea of, oh, I got to get at least this far back. It kept a lot of more people alive.
That's good.
Once I pointed it out, yeah.
It's a helpful in hardcore, too.
Yeah, that or I imagine on, like, High Reaper, those things always got somebody.
Yeah, we call them squircles in Lava Divers because they're squares.
Yeah.
The Boromir Muscle Dragonborn from Charn have had their appearances updated so their outfits displayed properly.
Well, thank God for that.
Workmen have finally taken away some extra ladders in Shantikor left behind during construction of the halls.
What the hell are they talking about? I just went through Shantikor to do some favor pickup or cleanup, and I don't know what ladders are talking about.
I don't know. Maybe in the little entry area. Like I seem to recall there being like a ladder that was like hanging in the air that didn't really provide a lot of use, but I don't know. Dragonborn can now properly use the Druid Cold Breath spell. Weird interactions. They did add the new spells to spellbooks. So Arcane Tempest. Artificer got Arcane Tempest at level 6. Cleric and Favored Soul got Celestial Bombardment and Divine Wrath at level 9. Druid got Insidious Spores at level 7, Storm Rage at 8, and Tsunami at 9. And Sorcerers and Wizards both got Arcane Tempest at level 8.
Warlock's got Arcane Tempest at 6 as well.
Yeah, how come that's not in here?
I don't know.
Good catch. Probably some copy and paste errors. Several changes and optimizations have been made to spells that can affect multiple targets. This should resolve several issues with area of effect spells connecting while impacting with shallow water, as well as having a much better time making contact through uneven terrain.
Well, now at least I understand why you can't step in the water in Feywild. They touched it here.
Yeah, and I think there were some other issues with that as well. I feel like I've had a little bit of mixed results with like spells sometimes not landing just in general. And someone I was playing with asked if I was having targeting issues. And I said, I don't think so. So there may be some more Halo effects with this than that are going to be tweaked.
Well, I have to say, everybody, I owe everyone an apology. I TR'd into a barbarian, so I can't look at these spell fixes for everyone.
Alchemist Sanctified Vial now requires a level of Cleric, Favored Soul, Paladin, or any point spent in Divine Crusader, Exalted Angel, or Unyielding Sentinel Destinies. Enervation spell now applies a negative damage over time effect.
I don't think Death Block is stopping this dot damage.
Really?
Just as a pay attention thing. Because I was definitely Death Warded, and I definitely was taking several hundred points of damage from an Enervation.
I'm assuming this applies to the monster version of this as well.
I have no idea. I've not actually cast Enervation in like 7 years once I decided it was bad. Now it's good, so maybe I'll start casting it again. But I'm pretty sure the monsters will hurt you with that, so just keep an eye on it.
Prismatic Strike's weapon damage damage reduction debuff now does the correct value of 25%. I don't know that
Was it doing over or less than that previously?
I can't tell you that I don't think I knew that it did that at all. So I can't help it there. Toggles now remember their state better to log out and log in. Yay! The Fate Spinner will now remind you when you haven't unlocked all the new Epic Destiny trees. I'm not sure if that I haven't played with that. I'm not sure if that, because when you go talk to the Fate Spinner right now, the Fate Spinner just sends you straight to the junction of the spheres. I don't even know that it gives you an option to do anything else. So that's a thing. Hey, side note, Epic Destinies are free. That means premium or not VIP players don't have to go to the Fate Spinner to respend their Epic points, Epic Destiny points. So that's cool. See, the Gnome and Deep Gnome cores 2 and 4 now have the correct icons. Not sure why that wasn't. They've been out for like what, 3 years?
At least.
Yeah. There's a new tab on the character sheet that contains your Epic Destiny abilities. Makes it easy. Makes it more like heroic enhancements too, so it's pretty easy to figure out. Known issues. There were several known issues. The Fate Singer's Mantle of Sound and Fury burst damage doesn't scale with melee or range power yet. An issue with some bodies of water in Feywild can result in players getting stuck. The following quests and raids have been temporarily closed due to a monster statting bug. They expect to reopen the following quest packs and raids in a patch in the near future. This includes the Fjarland Carnival, Sands of Manectarin, although only the flagging quests are offered in Epic. The Wilderness and Walk Up heroic quests should still be available. Sentinels of Stormreach, Bond 5 and 6, and the Chronoscope raid. I don't know if the other ones, if that's only Epic or if it's also in heroic. I heard a rumor that it was related to monsters interacting with water, although I don't know that that's accurate.
I know that the Sentinels quests are closed in heroic.
Are they?
My wife
Okay.
she's TRing and when he did do Spies in the House on heroic and it was closed. So yeah.
Okay. The XP bar there was initially an issue with Destiny's points being calculated at 4-1 instead of 3-1 for Fate points, but that was corrected with Update 51 Hotfix 1, which was released on November 5th.
Well, here's the funny thing, PJ. Steel Star, in one of the previews, I don't know, preview 2 or maybe even preview 1, when they were first starting to tell us what the changes are in the Epic Destiny system and how do we calculate when we get Destiny points or pay points or whatever, told us back then that there was going to be changed from 4-1 to 3-1, and it wasn't changed then, and it didn't get changed for 51, the actual live update. It took the hot fix on Friday to fix it. Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Let's see. Update 51 Hotfix 1. Players now get the proper number of Fate points per reincarnation. This will be calculated upon login. The players should have that updated correctly. Variety of Epic Destiny abilities no longer stop working after death. This is one of my favorite ones. New Epic Destinies no longer force reset the Feydark Illusionist Enhancement tree when you log in.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. Divine Crusader's Epic Moment now has its proper cooldown. The Attune the Destiny Mantle from Draconic Incarnation now properly procs on cold spells. Exalted Angel, the Angelic Soul properly reduces the damage by the correct amount. It was overtuned to the point of providing 95% absorption to energy damage.
Yeah, I saw somebody had like 96% fire absorption, and they were talking about doing their too hot to handles on Reaper.
Yeah, that was pretty significant. The Mantle Aura no longer heals you while you are dead. Angelic Charge now requires charges. The Pillar spells have had their targeting range extended to 60 meters, matching many other spells. And Healing Pillar now accepts the Empower Healing meta magic feat. In Fate Singer, range Pluck the String now properly says it scales with range power. A variety of abilities now have their proper level prerequisites. The Discord spell now has a maximum range of 60 meters. Mastering the Strings now properly increases DCs. And Cut the Strings dance no longer works on raid bosses, and death no longer passes through death block. Aw.
Man, that would have been awesome.
Dancing raid bosses?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, does anyone else
I'd love to see the Lord of Blades. That would have been great.
Does anyone else wonder how dragons dance?
Probably just
How
side to
Bella
side.
dances? Oh, wow, that would be cool.
I mean, you can't dance any of the dragons in the game, right? So
Probably just from side to side.
I'd still like to see it. Devs,
I
please
don't.
give us non-boss dragons that we can dance. Grandmaster of Flowers, Drifting Lotus and Lotus Blossom now have their proper DC calculation.
Bloom.
Several abilities are no longer erroneously visible in your buff bar. Probably good. Let's see, Legendary Dreadnought, Legendary Rally now has its listed +2 critical multiplier on its attack. Let's see, Magus of the Eclipse, Greater Beam's freeze and paralyzed effects now have their proper duration or removed upon death or relogging. The Mantle Aura no longer deals damage while you are dead. Moonlance and Gloomsphere now have their intended 5 spell point cost to cast. 0 Degree Comet and Moonshadows now have their intended 40 spell points cost to cast, and their target range extended to 60 meters. Cold Light of the Moon and Dark Light of the Moon now have their intended 10 spell point cost to cast. And Shadow Dancer's Epic Moment had its tooltip corrected. Let's see, the Legendary and Perfected Helm of the Red Dragon now have their proper appearance.
What the hell does that mean?
They look differently, apparently? I am curious. I don't know.
As far as I could tell, they always looked the way they always looked.
Yeah, It's only the Legendary and Perfected Helm. So does that mean that they look differently and now look the same, or I don't know.
I don't know.
Destiny Tomes now have improved wording to reflect their usage in the new Destiny system. Probably good. They corrected an issue with traveling through water in the Feywild. Hey, cool. Circle of Death now functions again.
Well, that's good.
Oops. Evard's Black Tentacles no longer slows players or defender NPCs. How do you break that? I don't
know. It's been working fine for years, and now suddenly it breaks for somehow. Well, you know what? The beam, the what do you call it? The beam thing, and oh god, what was that? In Magus of the Eclipse, the greater beams freeze / paralyze effects that actually worked on players. So you
say
could
that
really grief people with that. So something must have happened where it's player spells were certain player spells were not supposed to affect other players, and they made a switch or something.
Here's a thought for making Reaper more difficult: turn on friendly fire. I'm now gonna get hate mail for that suggestion. I'm sorry I said it aloud, but I do kind of miss the days when Judgment would blast player Pale Masters in undead form. That was kind of funny. It was bad if you were them, but it was funny. Tsunami is no longer erroneously a breath weapon. The loading screen for the Junction of Spheres has been updated. Why did it take so long? The HUD now properly displays your XP bar in epics. Probably good. There you go. There's the release notes that we're going to read.
We're not going to talk about the daily dice mount?
That's not actually in the release notes.
Oh.
That's just, yeah. It's a formatting thing in my notes here. The daily dice mount. So this is, Cordovan said that they have gone through the list today and distributed the mount to everyone who would have received one through daily dice, prior to it being added into the daily dice accurately. Apologize for this issue and we'll work to make sure it won't happen again. They were able to determine players that would have actually received the mount through a game data query. Now, it's good. People got the mount that they're supposed to get. And I actually know someone who got the mount supposed to get. Good. I'm not sure this totally fixes the problem they created, because if you would have gotten that on your third roll and you rolled 100 times trying to get it, I mean, that's still a bunch of extra rolls you made. So I don't know that they really fixed the problem totally here.
Right.
I mean,
what surprised me about that? Well, I agree with that, PJ. But what really surprised me about this is that they actually keep records of what you roll. So
sure,
that was surprising.
That seems like a very minute log, though. All that stuff should be tracked. All these things should be tracked. You should be able to go back and figure out all sorts of stuff. Like they told me on camera I accidentally destroyed a sentience gem. I went to grab a remover and I grabbed the destroyer instead. Put it on camera. I couldn't figure out what happened. I put in a ticket. And they're like, "Sorry, we can't figure out what's in your how much experience was in that sentience gem, so we can't repair your sentience gem." And I'm like, "It's on camera, but that's not recorded. Like that mistake's not recorded, but this is recorded." So I don't know. I feel like they should be recording a lot more stuff, and some of the things that they are recording, I mean, it's good. I'm glad they're doing it, but because more information is better than not. But some of the times it just doesn't make any sense.
Right. The other thing I'll say about this is, boy, I wish I would love if the horses that you get from daily dice, if you could sounds terrible, but like crunch them down into bits, to turn for other horses, like you can do with the cosmetics. That'd be kind of nice. Since they're bound to account, and you only need one now.
Yeah, I got way too many chestnut palomino whatevers, and now I want to get one of the hellhounds or the nightmares.
Yeah, I mean, you could even make the nightmare mount more expensive, right? Like, it'd be doable. But from the daily dice perspective, it's the same rarity. You still got to roll really high to get the other ones, anyways. So. Bonus days. 30% epic XP along with a strength in numbers weekend. 5% for every member in your party or raid group other than yourself through November 7th. Enjoy the XP.
Yeah, that's amazing. That 30% epic XP. I thought that maybe 10% was good, and then I've never seen them do 20%, much less 30%. It's basically forced my wife to go back and play DDO for the rest of the weekend, because now it's an opportunity for her to get her tune up to 30 now. So
they do 20 a lot. 30 is pretty high. I'm sure this is planned for the fact that they expect a lot of people to be doing epic reincarnations, probably because there's new epic past life feats.
Well, I think that's part of the. I think this is part of the strategy to get people to be more on board. It's like, all right, look, I know you're got to go through all this stuff, but the pain of re-leveling is much easier. And we're at some point, we'll get to hot takes later about something we hinted at, but questing's a little easier, XP's a little easier, things are going a little quicker. Putting all these things together are going to make it feel really good, regardless of what you may or may not have for it.
The sales improve your character to get 25% off of select stat and skill tomes, tomes of heroic and epic learning, and Harbor Agent Enhancement Tree through November 11th. Also, the coupon code gets you a free medium Slayer count boost with the coupon code Slaying It through November 11th.
Again, I think this is a really good use of the sales to kind of tie in with what else is going on. Lots of good decisions. I feel like I have to point out the good decisions when they're making them. So good decisions here.
Community news. The 446th Chronicle. They are mentioning that the DDO Discord is back. Strimtom also gets a shout out for his beginner basics videos this week, doing this one specifically a paladin. So if you're looking for some beginning ideas about how to build some of these classes, there you go. The comment: what DDO monster needs to be added to DDO? The Tarask. Mic drop. Done.
Well, I went the extreme. Well, actually, Memnir went the extreme opposite with Flump, but I went with the Cookie Monster. I know it's not a DDO monster, but it was obvious. It was, there's some great visuals for it, and I put in one in the thread, so I had to take it.
It's fun. Samus, you got a monster you want to see?
No, I just would like to see a physical form for the lag monster so we can just defeat it every once in a while. That's all.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot left from like the basic books, I feel like, but Remoraz would be kind of fun.
Well, I mean, you could do a lot of classic stuff with like a spell weaver or some of the other things. Of course, those would also be wonderful. You could get into like half golems, or you could get into some of the like beholder sub races. Like you could really go deep in there. There's lots of places for DDO to go. So let's not pretend that we don't have monsters to go to. There's still many, many worlds of things that they can grab.
Fomorians would be kind of interesting. Like go invade a hive of ants.
Yep, that would be kind of cool.
It's not a D&D monster, but I've always thought like so slivers from Magic the Gathering like buff each other.
Mhm.
I've always thought that would be a really interesting D&D monster. So you kill one, all of them get weaker. That'd be kind of interesting thing. Let's see. Fansite news. We got a shout out for our episode last week. We looked at some lightning posts that folks wrote in. DDO Stream is your first stop to find DDO on Twitch. This week, DDO PL, Magenta RV, and Brock and Friends get shout outs. On Twitch, Tersmo, Retry Zhao, and Master Gibbs got shout outs. And on YouTube, Nico, Tito, and Six Sides of Gaming get shout outs. Boy, I think most of those names are all new, so that's kind of fun. Let's see. Cordovan did a brief live stream during the downtime for some Q&A on the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream this week, so you can check that out as well. Don't forget to check out D&D Night on Sundays at twitch.tv/DDO stream at 7 p.m. Eastern. Most Sundays. I had hoped to do a one-off last Sunday, and as previously mentioned, my schedule kind of went all over the place, and I never made it happen, unfortunately. But you can check out that. You can also check out DDOCast, which will be kind of hit or miss, continuing for a while. Although maybe I'll give Arkat the stream key just so you can switch when I'm not there or something. I don't know. Anyways, so you can we play DDO on Tuesdays. I keep intending to maybe stream some more, and I just don't. Usually because I'm doing some other things. I kind of like listening to music or watching TV while I play, and you can't do that while you're streaming. So I don't know.
Right, you actually have to pay attention to the audience.
Yeah. Look, I'm not a great streamer, and I don't think I'm gonna be pushing streaming a whole lot. But hey, the show's live. We'll still play occasionally and stuff like that. So
my stream would definitely not be family friendly, so I don't know how successful I would be.
Probably just fine. Guessing it will be just fine. Anyways. So yeah, you can check that out. And we also have some other KG might stream other games. We'll be streaming some D&D for the Lava Divers, my guild, today as well, and that'll show up on YouTube and Twitch and all the fun places. Okay, so we're gonna talk about update 51. Give you some of our thoughts on. Hey, it's rolled out, it's live, it's on the real worlds now. So we'll talk about that. But also, we want to talk about kind of our first impressions of some stuff. So I think we'll start with like the rollout. Hey, it's here. How do you guys think it went? What are your thoughts on that regard?
Would you like to go first this time?
Sure, I'll go. In the show notes say it was rushed. Although they did give 3 previews on Lamani, actually 4, if you count the pre-preview before they did update 50. I mean, it was, I guess no matter how long it took, the number or the changes to the Epic Destiny system are so significant. I don't know that if they extended it out 2 or 4 weeks, I don't know that we would have said it wasn't rushed even then. So, it just seems like they did too much in too short a time. But I don't know that you can roll it out piecemeal either. So, I think they were damned if they, they were in a no-win situation. They were damned if they did and damned if they didn't. Although some people might disagree and say they should have just left Epic Destiny system alone, and and we wouldn't have had these issues. I'm not going to really comment on that. I just it's just, I've got 18 level 30 tunes, and it's just exhausting for me to go through, and trying to figure out, the new system for each and every tune. And many of the tunes are completely different play styles from others. So it isn't like I've got three, I've got three bow tunes, so now I can basically do the same thing for all three. No, I've got a pale master, I've got a healer, I've got, I've got a two-handed fighting, paladin, I've got a sword and board paladin, I've got so many. I got a barbarian, I got so many different. I got a wolf. I've got so many different kinds and different tunes that won't be doing anything the same thing twice. And so it frankly is just exhausting trying to go through and trying to readjust my brain for these significantly new changes. And what is this? It's the world's smallest violin playing the world's saddest sound. But for somebody like me whose time is, more, somewhat limited, it's kind of tough. So the changes were very, very large, and of course there was all sorts of bugs and so forth. So it was rushed. But I got to say, I'm not one of these people that said they shouldn't have done the changes. I think the changes did need to be made. I and then the level gating part doesn't bother me. Like it bothers so many other people. I guess mostly because I'm not much of a TR person, so I don't have to level from 20 to 30 very often. So maybe I'm not the one to speak to that experience. But the level gating thing never really burned my britches at all.
Oh, that was a lot. Anything else? You got any other in there? Go ahead. You got it. I saw that sigh at the beginning of
I
the show.
probably do, but I don't want to take up
Okay.
everybody's morning.
Go
So
for it,
you
Sam.
go next.
So I think we all kind of feel a lot of the same things, right? Rushed, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like they could have taken 2 more weeks and had some stuff like a little bit more polish. I feel like the things that are wrong are not unrepairable and they're totally doable. And I don't think they're so significant that it's going to be the game shake that I was afraid it was going to be. That being said, this is really, I keep making an analogy that we're at DDO 1.15, and it's true. The game feels different. It is not the same. This year, everything has kind of had a big shakeup. And I think that's where a lot of people are coming back to check it out to see how it feels. And this is the problem. People are coming back to check this stuff out. I don't know how many people come to the stream in the last week asking me about the changes. Hey, I haven't played in years. How does it feel? You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, it's a good time to come back and check it out. If those people come back and they have a bad experience or negative experience because, I don't know, this thing is bugged or that thing's bugged or these quests are closed or, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to get the retention that they're looking for. At the same time, they're doing a really great ad push. This seems to have a lot of good marketing stuff going on right now. There seems to be a lot of good marketing decisions in general. I feel like a marketing should have stepped in and said, let's give it 2 more weeks of polish before we send it out the door. And again, I realize holidays really throws a lot of stuff in the loop. I don't know why they continuously develop with the end of the year push like this. Why not aim for these big pushes in July? Well, they did, right? This year was 2 big things. So I just feel like they need to figure out a way in their schedule to take on these bigger projects earlier in the year instead of trying to cram them at the end. Because then you get in the situation where you're just going to put it out and then we'll fix it. Oh, just put it out there. We'll fix it. But as Patrick just said, Patrick, you literally said they're probably already switching gears for the move past level 30, right? So like their mindset's already done for a lot of this. So now there's less people doing the polish and the cleanup and doing like a lot of these little things. But those are the little things that are going to stand out and inconvenience people that they need to address quickly. Anyway, go ahead.
On that note, I think this is actually a better scheduling than we've seen generally than you're talking about. Because usually there's an update kind of October, like around when Night Revels launches. There's usually kind of a small, like an update there, and then with content, and then the last update of the year, usually in December, is usually where you'd find a bunch of system changes and kind of stuff. Maybe a little quest or two, like a small pack, something like that, like a small content. But this one coming out when it is does feel like a better schedule.
It's closer. It's definitely closer, right? Definitely more ideal. And again, I'm not going to sit here and try to play quarterback architect or whatever, but I hope that this is a step forward and they're progressing, like they're developing their system in a better and smarter way. It feels like that's what's going on to me, just as a person sitting back from the outside edge. Like things are improving. I like the steps that they're going. I think that it needed basically some polish. It really sucks that the first hotfix didn't open up all the raids again, right? Like that seems to be the second biggest comment I'm getting from people is like, man, I really wanted to run this quest, but it's closed. You know?
And
I feel like that was a known issue before the patch. It's a known issue after the first patch. Like, I don't think they get 3 patches on this to make it feel right. I think they get 2 patches, and I think they wasted one already by not taking care of some of the stuff, and then they're going to waste the next one, and then after that, it's going to start feeling bad that they are continuing to patch this and it's not fixed. So I think from a marketing perspective, they got to play it smart and get as much done on this next patch as they can.
Before I give my thoughts, I do want to kind of clear up one thing. I don't think that they're starting the leveling up past 30 right now. I mean, I think they are going to focus on this, like polishing some stuff up.
Sure, but I mean, I know what it's like to develop this kind of software, right? You can't help it. Your brain, like when it's done to the certain point, you drop it. You're like, I'm done. And you start on the next thing. You can't, like, that checkout happens for all of us. And it's a lot of effort to force through and stay on the thing that you mentally checked out is done enough that it's out to the public. Public facing done is done, Patrick.
Sure.
Right? So it's hard to not get people to just move on. And that needs to be careful. That needs to be reined in. These things have to be fixed. And they're not huge fixes. They're just little changes that are going to take some time.
On the rush thing, we already talked about, Samius and I, about why I think the preview process felt rushed. I don't want to totally rehash that, but I mean, just from the standpoint of they were very clear about saying we didn't have time to do this. From preview to preview, like it just felt like they were doing too much in each preview in the time given. The reason why I think even more so that this feels rushed is you're looking at some of the just the known issues list from the first one, right? Like they didn't finish Fate Singer's Mantle. I mean, look at the release notes from the hotfix. There's a bunch of little touches that they had to go in and do that weren't done, like things not costing the right number of spells and stuff. Now, on the flip side, like I think there's an argument to be had that like there's 12 trees and each tree has 28 different abilities, most of which are new or redesigned. There's a couple that are pretty basic stuff, but so in that context, it doesn't feel like it feels like they did a pretty decent job on what's working correctly and what's not. But I look at the known issues from the first set of notes, and it's like all these quests are temporarily closed due to a bug. I think that bug cropped up maybe kind of late in there. That's kind of how I read it. That may not be true, but it makes it feel like someone said this needs to release on this day. And unless it's catastrophic, it releases on this day. And that's just kind of what that list of quests that aren't open kind of feels like to me. On the flip side, I also kind of have a hard time figuring out, like, okay, so those quests aren't open. That's not insignificant, but is that worth delaying the update? I don't know that it is either. But it just...
No, but I feel like if you add these 17 other things here and there, and these little things and this little thing, they could have waited instead of putting it out on Friday. They could have. I don't think any of these things are so amazing that you don't want the first weekend to be like fixed or whatever. So like, it's probably still fine, but it's gonna have to be soon. That's what I'm saying. Like they're gonna end up using their second update on this patch to get the quests up and running and such, and not to finish the polish, and people are going to remember that. That is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Transitioning kind of more into hot takes, the experience of it. Here's kind of some of my hot takes. I was able to run through the Lords of Dust chain and the 3 minutes to the Underdark chains since this came out. And I did a little bit of raiding as well. In terms of like when I was raiding, it was kind of fun to play with the new epic moment. I was on a healer, so I was doing the Exalted Angel epic moment. That was, I'll be honest, that epic moment was a lot of fun to use. I'm not actually entirely sure how effective it actually was, but it felt fun. Like, oh, hey, look, put this on, and I have these blade bearers running around, and I just, like, ran around trying to touch as many things as I could, right? Like, so it was kind of fun. It was really hard to tell how effective it was, but I enjoyed that moment. I have enjoyed the, a lot of the abilities that I've been using, like, both from a healer perspective and on an alchemist leveling up. Those were both kind of fun. I did mostly enjoy the spending points in the trees and kind of figuring out what it was, like where to put what and how to use different things. I didn't do all of my characters, but I probably did probably like 10 or so characters, maybe somewhere around 10, I think. It was a little annoying to I did like I said 3 lesser reincarnations, plus I did a character that I was reincarnating anyways. I just waited until it came out before I did that, because it was so, like, the difference in when I would have done that reincarnation were the day before or the day it came out. And hey, plus a free +5 Heart of Wood for not doing that. So it was a lot of reincarnating in the same day, and I spent a full day of gameplay just putting characters back together, which was tedious, but when I was just spending points, like, that was mostly a positive experience, other than the fact that I still think there's an issue. There's still a disconnect for me for how expensive it is to go vertically in the tree versus how many points you get. That was still really kind of a downer. It's still a down point for me, especially after having spent those points in a bunch of different characters. That's still the point cost to go vertically is not the level part. The point cost is still a negative experience for me. Although I don't think it needs like a huge change, but I think it needs to be cheaper. So that was my experience with that part. I did find that when I was leveling, monsters were significantly easier in lower epics. It feels like much less of a jump from heroic into early epics. It feels almost linear. Like, once you kind of account for I have these new abilities that I didn't have before. So that was good. I do like the Destiny kind of shakeup that I have with that. And how I spent the points, and doing it just for reference. Like, I was doing an Alchemist with Draconic Incarnation and Primal Avatar. Doing doing like mixing those two together. I have not been stopping and spending my point every single time. I kind of waited, like I spent them at level 20, and got the things that I would want for like the full tree, and then just didn't spend points until I hit level 23, so I could have a bunch of points to spend in the areas I wanted to spend them in. So, and we started thinking about like, oh, well, I could spend all these points, but I'd be resetting the trees every level, or every like major, like 23 and 26, and that doesn't feel like great gameplay to me. So I'm not sure that the design of, hey, this will be more more meaningful leveling. I'm not sure that it's really landing fully for me because of that limitation. Like I could spend these points as I get them, but they're going to end up in places where I don't want them because of the level gating, and that means I have to reset them more than I really kind of want to bother doing. So I just didn't. The XP bar I think is going to take a lot of getting used to, like as the bar, because it's like the heroic bar now, right? So the bar is for each dot, and there's 4 dots for each level, in epics too. So that was really throwing me off about how fast I was advancing, because the bar, I look and the bar was I'm like 80% of the way to the level because I wasn't really looking at the numbers. And then I look again and like, wait, the bar's only 20%. What's going? Oh, right, it's a different bar now. I did also notice that smaller amounts of XP matter more for like optionals because they get you to those points if you're trying to get more points. Granted, I wasn't really spending them that fast, but I let them build up. But it was kind of neat to see like, oh, hey, getting all the optionals kind of makes more of a difference because it makes or breaks getting a point faster. So that was kind of fun. That was kind of my hot take. What about you guys?
I'm going to go ahead and jump back in here next just because I think I'm running low on time. The last nice day in Kansas. So I really appreciate that you had so many things to say about the experience because I have 1.5 characters that I play, right? I play Samius on the TR train. We're almost done. And I play Java, who's currently like my raid guy, right? Who was set up as a debuffer. I played a little bit pre-update on Samius, like a level 24, I think, 25 maybe. And I was easily able to solo R1. That's not a big deal. And I was very comfortable on the build with like up to R4 with people who were contributing, right? After the update, bam, I reset my enhancements, or not my enhancements, my Epic Destiny points. I feel like my spell power was fluctuating in weird ways that I couldn't quite math, which was really aggravating to me. But the bad guys, I just felt like they would blow over. So I thought the best way to test it out would be to start like just on quests that I would be doing around this level and just try ramping up the Reaper, right? Well, I was on my caster Light Bright Cleric soloing Reaper 4 and just zerging through it, trying to red alert the dungeon as much as possible to just get as many mobs together. Like, it does not feel like the same DDO pre-update, post-update. I don't know if that's what they're looking for. But this line, monsters are significantly easier in lower epics, didn't change. Again, I was running around. I was doing solo Sharn Reaper 4, just zerging like a crazy person. My insta-kill spells were landing on my not particularly high DC focused person, like, or not even geared out, right? Pre-level 29, keep these things in mind, right? And it felt crazy, like by comparison. It felt so good, and people may or may not laugh, that I decided I'm going to try a hand wrap barbarian, just because if it's ever going to be good, it's going to be now. Right? This is what I'm saying. Like, this is how different the game is. I don't know if that's what they're looking for. I see a lot of people complain about the game being easy. There's not nearly as many people that complain about the game being hard. I know there are people out there who find the game hard and challenging, and I respect that. And maybe that's a larger, quieter percentage of the metagame than I know. But this is all, in my opinion, if it's to make it feel like this is good, and then they're going to tweak stuff and they're going to slide stuff back in the appropriate place. So enjoy your broken stuff now, I guess is what I'm trying to say. because it's not going to stay this way. Now, that being said, like I said, I TR'd Samius, right? We leveled the rest of the way to 30. I had a fun experience. I really enjoyed it. The server went down for the update, and I was able to update. That's, for something that I've talked about the last 2 or 3 times we've been on the show, that the update seemed to be an all-day process for me lately. But this one went right through. That was really, really awesome. I hadn't noticed like any massive extra lag than usual. Right? The game's running good. It feels good. You're having fun doing this stuff. The challenge is not as there as it used to be, but, the challenge now is trying to figure out what your characters are going to look like, right? So, like, maybe that's the challenge you focus on for a couple of weeks, and then maybe the gameplay will get back. I'm not 100% sure. Again, I'm not sure what the goal is going to be for what they want me to feel like at level 21 versus at level 30, right? Like Patrick said, the spending points at level 20 feels really odd and difficult and unwieldy to me. So, like, for example, why do I have to have like 14 loading screens to turn on all my Epic Destiny spheres? That makes no sense. Do it once per character, per TR.
No, once per character.
Once per character forever? Because I turned them on Samius, and I turned them on again. I feel like I had to run around and go talk to him again, but maybe not. Maybe I did it out of new habit.
I definitely did not.
Okay. But why are you still doing that? Why is that space also located in a teleport location someplace else instead of in the Hall of Heroes? Why are each of those doorways there? These things just don't make sense when you're talking about loading screens and server problems, right? Like, I don't understand some of these things. And it took unnecessary time, and it felt bad for me. So, like, there's some things that I think that are real hangups for me in these weird ways, and I feel like I've talked about them from Lamania, and I felt like some of these things didn't go through. And I don't know if they have plans to change some of this, but I literally didn't. I just went around and talked to the Epic Destiny person on Java because I was so not looking forward to that experience again. So for me, it's little things like that. I also have a bunch of characters. They're just going to sit there and not get anything because I don't want to go through the process. It's unfun for me. I dislike it. So I hope they can make some little tweaks to it to rearrange some of the stuff and make it so it's not quite as a problematic experience, I think, for me. But it's something that I can adapt to if I need to. But man, it sucked. I don't know why it has to be this way. It seems bad, feels bad.
Yeah, the conversion to the new system is just,
yeah. There's everything about it, like every little part of it doesn't feel good, except playing it, right? Like when you're in the quest and you're doing the thing, it feels fine. But like right at level 20, for example, you have, if you're like me, you have the most at level 20, you have 18 points. 18 points doesn't let you get a second core, which feels like you should probably want, but it doesn't matter because it's level 23 anyway. So like all of those points just feel bad. Yeah. I guess. Like I don't know. I just like I said, I just did it level 20, and I realized I'm not feeling well, and that's also probably coloring my experience a little bit. But I literally didn't even walk off my boat because I was so drained after just spending those 18 points that it felt terrible.
Yeah, I still have 4 characters that I spent points on, but need to do a lesser reincarnation just to get their feats right.
Exactly.
And it's like,
and I don't want to go through that process either.
I might get to them eventually. It'll probably seriously take me about 6 months to get them all done. And it'll be something that I'm doing is like, I'm at Cap and I'm waiting for some friends to run some Reapers, and but I have some time, so I'll do this.
Yeah. I said for me, it's just, I don't know. There's a disconnect about it, and it may just be new player, old player. It may just be the haves versus the have-nots. It might just be I'm sick and this is my first experience with it. But that's what I do, right? I just tell you guys everything, and you guys can sort out what you like. But I hope that they can streamline this a little bit, because I'm one of the things I was really, really excited about with Samus being done was to go through the process and like work on some of my other characters and put a bank of characters together to do stuff like you guys have. And I now have negative desire to spend any time trying to patch up people. Even with the +5 heart, I just the whole that because that process is so unenjoyable, I just don't even think I want to play those characters except for this bank for right now.
Arkat, why don't you
Also,
jump in here? Oh, you're not done, Simus?
one more thing because I'm gonna actually take off. Also, every time Arkat says "tune" for the rest of the show, just realize that he is slapping me right in the face. Just every time.
Hey,
All right, everybody. Much love.
Before you go, plug your stuff, man.
Sure. You can find me most days at twitch.tv or youtube.com/Samius Gurobo. I stream, I don't know, like 3 times a day, it seems like, for multiple hours at a time. So a lot of that Dungeons and Dragons online right now. And of course, I even started streaming to the Twitter feed. So you can also follow twitter.com/Samius Gurobo and watch the stream there too, if you would like.
Nice.
All right, everybody. Peace and much love. I'll see you soon.
See you, Samus.
All right, Arkat. What are your thoughts here?
You know, a lot of my thoughts are probably it's probably unfair for me to make really even to give a hot take because I haven't played any quests since the thing came out. I mean, I haven't done any raids, haven't done any quests on and actually played a changed tune in anything yet. Although I am anticipating on doing raids in about half an hour. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how the new ED system, rather the new Destiny system, feels, at least in a raid, with the with 1 or 2 different characters. So it would be unfair for me to actually render any sort of judgment on the game effects. Are all I can really speak to right now anyway is how much how burdensome it is to redo a tune, whether you're doing a lesser reincarnation because, like you said, to get the feats right now, or just doing all the trees on so many different characters, and a lot of that's my own making. Is a problem my own making because there are people like Samus who have 1.5 tunes, and then there's idiots like me and some other people I know who have a boatload of level 30 tunes who have to go through all this. And yeah, it might take me 6 months to go through all of this. So it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting, and I am just hopeful that the end result will be worth all that heavy lifting.
I will say, for me personally, the spending the points wasn't too bad. Like especially like once I did it a few times, like it got into a groove, and I was more like part of the earlier problems. Like again, having spent points on like 10 or so different characters, part of the earlier problems was like figuring out what's in each tree, right? Like relearning the trees. I have a feeling that, especially for you, like as you get farther, as you get more and more characters through like spending the points, you'll get faster at it because you'll know what's in a tree. You'll kind of know which trees to. You kind of already know which trees to kind of go into. But sometimes like figuring out what that third tree wants to be was a little weird. Like, okay, what do I want to do for the third tree? Like, especially was like I only have like 5 points, so like if I had more points, I'd probably use this tree, but I only have 5 points. So what tree do I want to use that only has 5 points to spend, right? So, and like especially because I ended up using a lot of the characters I was doing were like splashing into Dreadnought, right? So like that got pretty fast. Like, oh, I've got 4 points and I'm spending Dreadnought, boom, 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 boom. Like,
Get some hit points, basically.
Yeah. Right. Like that part got pretty quick. It's the lesser reincarnating part that was really more of the chore. You have to like you have to re-level, then you have to reset your hotbars, reset your feet, and all this stuff, right? Like that's the part that I really felt kind of onerous to me. So
Yeah, God forbid you make a mistake and spend all your some of your skill points in bluff when you meant to spend them in search. Then
yeah,
you got to lesser reincarnate again,
yeah.
and that's what I did. I made a mistake, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
am looking. I am just right now probably just not even going to do it because
That's the
I'll
worst.
just live with a high bluff instead of a high search.
Yeah, the skills are the worst. I did my bard once and forgot to do concentration, and I was like, and like the first time I was like, oh, okay, I'm using it, and this is back when you still use like heal scrolls more regularly. I was like, okay, heal scroll hit fail. Like, oh, I didn't put points into concentration. I had to reincarnate again. The good news is like the feats and stuff. I did. There's one character that I want to change a bunch of feats. Although that's less about the process and more about like me catching up with some meta changes and some stuff like that. So and not wanting to spend. So that'll happen over a couple of days. So that wasn't too bad. But yeah, the lesser reincarnating to reset your character definitely kind of a pain in the ass if you're not already on a TR train. I don't know when those couple of characters are gonna. But again, I don't really play. I just did the characters that I still play, which is like six or seven. Well, six because one of them is currently in heroic, so he wasn't anywhere near level 20. Not a big deal. And one of them I TR'd, and he was already TRing, so that wasn't really anything different. But the other three of them I did a reincarnation on. That was a lot for a day. I think that was my whole day of playing. Now, granted, if I have maybe a piece of advice that like I was hanging out with some friends while I was doing that in Discord, like so I had like there was some other entertainment value going on, which made it less painful. But so yeah. But by the end of that, it was like I got to some of my side characters. Like, all right, I got like an hour. I don't really feel like questing right now. So I kind of went through like 4 or 5 characters and just like blew through some points on them, and that was pretty fast. Yeah, they had to reincarnate. That's gonna be a while, but they're
Oh, one
playable.
thing I wanted to bring up, Patrick. I'm sorry if I interrupted,
Oh, you're
but
good.
I don't, the system that they use for determining the number of points that you get, destiny points that you get, was really confusing.
Yes, I
Especially the
agree.
epic destiny points, because it's figured that figures in twice. How to figure out the number of destiny points you get. Obviously, you get 4 points you get one destiny point per 12 epic destiny lives you run through. So you can get up to 4 epic destiny points. So that's one way they figure it out. And then you also then you can figure out, I believe it's fate points, which then eventually converts into destiny points by how many of the epic destinies in the spheres that you did, and that was really confusing to me. I posted
Spheres
a
don't
thread
matter
on about it.
anymore. Just
Well, right. Well, in theory they don't, but I posted about it on the forums, and a couple people didn't understand what I was getting at, but a couple people did get it and cleared it up for me. But I don't have any of those epic past lives at all. Period. Nothing. So the most destiny points I can get is 55, and and with the Destiny Tome, the new Destiny Tome. And so, so I'm going to, so all of my tunes are going to be doing like 54 at least, and 4 of them will be getting the 55th point. And then when hardcore comes out, I'll get 4 more,
maybe.
um, maybe if they don't make a change of some sort. But I'll never get the other 9 destiny points that you can get from having all the epic past lives done. So that's a little demoralizing, to me, because I just don't have the time to do all
Yeah,
the TRing and the epic, TRing and all that stuff. So that's somewhat of a bummer,
it
frankly.
does put a lot more emphasis on the epic past lives for sure. They're
Oh,
much more
absolutely.
valuable now than they were before.
But now you have to
without
do
question.
so many. I mean, you have to do 48, epic pass flies, or probably more than that. It's, and there's no way I'll ever do all that. No way.
There's a lot more, and that's it makes it more of a burden to have more than one character, and absolutely, it's definitely.
They certainly are incentivizing alt play. That's for damn sure.
Right, and that's I think that's a problem for sure. I wish they had a way of mitigating that. We've heard talk about maybe making Reaper points account wide, as something. Some of the chat, universal pass lives. Cerberon is saying in the chat. Yeah, like that would be like up to a certain number. I think that would be a great change to do, and it would be a way to give us more points too, right? Like say that you can get the your fate points are shared across the server, and you can get. Although that does provide interesting questions about how transfers would work with that.
Right.
Same with Reaper
those
points,
solutions
but,
those solutions are good. I mean, they don't incentivize alt play, but they don't de-incentivize alt play, which quite frankly, what they're doing now is harmful to alt play.
So there's some stuff there for sure. I will say just for kind of as a closing thought, I keep some data of myself. So I've been paying attention to like how long it takes me to do things a little bit more. I completed the Motu chains probably about a half an hour faster overall. Again, there's a lot of quests there, and there's running through some explorer areas. Because it's 4, 4, 3, and then the well quest, so 12 quests. I did them in about a half an hour less time than I usually do them in. So that felt pretty good. I did not find that I think the rating was easier because of some of the new abilities I had. So the game does not feel harder to me. I can't speak directly to these 2 points that I'll bring up that some folks I've talked to. In terms of DC casting, it looks like the typical experience is that your primary school, your primary DCs, are a little bit lower than they were. But your secondary schools tend to be higher and less distance between them. Having said that, I think mostly people didn't seem to be having issues landing stuff. And when I was running Menace the Underdark, it's full of drow, but I was not actually having any problems throwing the Alchemist Frog at things. I was not getting a lot of spell resistance, which was shocking to me, actually. They're usually the highest ones in the game, with drow.
Oh, for sure. Drow, yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. Also did get a little bit of feedback from some folks that are newer to the game and found spending points much more intuitive and much more like what they're used to versus the old Epic Destiny system. So they did have a positive experience in that.
Well, good for them. I'm happy for them. That's good.
And I think the thing that I'm really interested in is I do kind of plan on playing Hardcore Season 5. One of the reasons is because I actually want to kind of take a hardcore character and go up to 30. See if I can get up to 30. But I think that I want to see what I think that experience is going to be a lot better for like a new character starting from scratch kind of perspective. So anything else you want to say before we close out, sir?
No, I really have to go to the bathroom. Let's let's hurry this up.
All right. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks to Arkat and Samius for joining me. and all the folks who contribute to DDOCast, Tainso Games, Wizards of the Coast, and the Cybears for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website at DDOCast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. If you have a DDO-themed webpage or you Twitch DDO and you'd like to be featured on our website, email us at DDOCast@gmail.com. You can hit us up at DDOCast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff, including various adventures in DDO, D&D Tabletop, and even some other games. If you have a comment on this episode, a question you'd like to hear us answer, a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or you just want to say hi, leave a comment or email us at DDOCast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media for latest cast updates at DDOCast is the best place. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.